Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
So can you please rejoin? I guess due to some connectivity issue, it's echoing a lot.
Then I'll probably have to change my place. Is it still echoing?
Yes, sir.
Is it echoing now?
No, now it's perfect, sir. Devika, we are all set to go live now.
Just one
Yes,
second.
we are live.
Just give me.
We are live. So we'll be starting off with the live. So greetings of the day. I hope you all are doing well. Today we have a session with our respected guest, Mr. Rajesh Mahapatra. I'm so excited, and I'm sure you guys are too. Comment below and add up to the excitement. First of all, let me tell you about Youth India Foundation, since many of you must be new. It's a social entrepreneurship platform where youth across the nation unite to gain knowledge and skills and implement it for a social cause, a great cause. We all know this, but what we don't know is that it's a platform where we harness the true potential of the youth and plan to make this world a better place with the efforts of the youth. It is a place where we dream to make India truly incredible for the youth. We can't wait to turn dreams into reality and see empowered youth leading the country. By now, each one of you must know our mission. We make a living from what we get, but we make a life from what we give. Giving is important at Youth India Foundation. Good evening to everyone. I'm Devika, and it gives me immense pleasure to be your host this evening. In our ongoing foundation series, today we have an esteemed personality, Rajesh Mahapatra. Collective efforts led us to the success of this foundation series so far, and we are grateful for everyone who has contributed. Teamwork is best done when executed well. We are a team who believes in giving our all to those in need and never giving up. The Foundation Lecture Series witnessed the presence of many esteemed personalities in the past week. We hope to inculcate those values and lessons in our personal and professional lives. The topic for this session is Should Future Makers Worry About the Present? Let us dive deeper into this with our lecture for the day. But before that, I would like to inform each one of you that you all will be getting your certificates after the event. But for that, we have a process for this time because it is a live session. So you go to the Youth India Foundation's website, locate an arrow icon on the home screen, click on it, choose lectureship certification, and fill out a basic form. Now make sure you take a screenshot with the time in the middle of the session and keep it with yourself because the form will ask you to upload it. Well, I would now like to introduce Mr. Rajesh Mahapatra. Mother Teresa once said, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. Rajesh Mahapatra is one great man who has brought a huge change in journalism. Over the last 25 years, he has worked as a business journalist, political analyst, public politics expert, newsroom leader, and editor. His journey took him from Chhattarpur, remote Odisha, to New Delhi and other parts of the world. He studied economics and Johns Hopkins University. He is now a columnist and commentator who seeks to contribute and shape public policy debates in Odisha and India as a whole. After leaving Hindustan Times 2 years ago, Mahapatra founded Odisha Dialogues, aka Odisha Alochana Chakra, a non-partisan thought leadership forum that seeks a meaningful dialogue on Odisha's future. I would now like to call upon our 4 people who would be there with Rajesh Mahapatra ji and will be interacting with them throughout the lecture. So we'll be waiting for a few seconds till they join. So how are you? How was your weekend?
You asking me?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very challenging. We are passing through some very challenging times. You are based in Delhi, Devika?
Yes, I am from Gurgaon.
Yeah, so I don't have to explain you much. So as we speak, my house help is positive. My wife is positive. So yeah, it's tough time. I have come negative, but I think that's a false negative. So
just take care, sir. So we have our people here, and 2 more are left to join. Till then, I would like everyone to drop in their question in the comment section below, as we'll be taking them after the lecture is over, and maybe you'll be fortunate enough to have your question.
And when I came today, no Hindi. and yet I chose to become a journalist. So I think I did manage. Uh, I did manage to survive in the profession. So when my son tells me that you cannot communicate with millennials, I said, okay, if that is the state today, I'm sure I will overcome this challenge. So therefore, every opportunity I get to interact with the youth, I don't say no. Okay, so that's how we begin. Now, let me tell you that as I said that our house help has tested positive. My wife has tested positive. They are isolated, and I'm the only person who so far has tested negative. So I'm attending to everything now. So in case there is a disruption, somebody presses the bell or somebody gives a shout, I might have to just go out for a few seconds. So you'll have to excuse the interruptions that might come along. Okay, so we're now in Devika's introduction, I picked up a few words. Giving is important, she said. And toward the end of her introduction, he said, you will all be issued a certificate. So, giving and incentives. So, we're trying to balance things, okay? So that's what, when I said my quest about how the youth goes about looking at things, and I think back at my youth, did we bother so much about balancing? So that's the question that comes to my mind. I'm not going to give you any answer. I'm just going to talk about questions that come to my mind. And then we call Youth India Foundation a social enterprise. Okay. Which wants to harness the true potential of the youth. Okay, now we can spend hours debating these words. What a social enterprise is. And why do you want to call it a social enterprise? Why not something else? Okay. So why the word enterprise? Similarly, true potential. Why just saying potential is not enough? Why do you have to underscore, emphasize by adding a true? So, which means the potential word, when it comes to youth, is kind of shadowed with many layers, perhaps, right? Okay, so why am I talking about all of these things? Because I know I got a brief, and the topic I had agreed to was, should future makers worry about the present? When I said future makers, my idea was you. You are the future. If we are the present, we will soon become the past, and you are the future. So you are going to make the future. And when I said, should you worry about the present, I didn't mean should you worry about us. I meant, should you worry about what is going to shape your future, which is the present. Okay? So let us not use the word worry. Let us use the word, how do you view it? And we are talking in the middle of a pandemic. Okay? So let me start by, I will keep it conversational. We may, Suvankar has given a very tight schedule. We will try our best to stick to it. But, here and there, if we slip for 2 or 3 minutes, it's worth it. If you guys are liking it, we can carry on. If you get bored, and then you can just, start putting the thumbs down figure, and I will shut up. Okay, don't worry. Okay, now, we are in the middle of a pandemic. I'm speaking to you from Delhi, okay? And it is very difficult. About a fortnight ago, every morning I woke up to learn somebody I knew or I know has tested positive. For the past 7 days, it is no longer about getting to know that somebody has tested positive. For the past 7 days, it has been every day somebody is leaving the world. Someday the count goes up to 3 to 4. And because I have been in Delhi for 35 years and I've led a very active life, so I do know a lot of people. And since I am already 52, so a lot of people I know are also, but this is happening across age groups. It kinds of bothers you, it angers you, it agitates you. If it is doing that to me, I'm sure wherever you are reading about all of these things. And I keep asking questions, why and how did we come to this pass? I'm sure that question is getting raised in many of your minds. So I thought, let us start today about the things that we are going to talk about, trying to peg it to what is happening today. Okay? So what is happening today? What are you hearing? Tell me, why? What is happening? What is coming to your mind? Every time you are scanning through social media, news headlines. What is happening? What is happening? Anybody wants to go and give an answer?
Everyone demanding for remdesivir, oxygen, beds. There is chaos for that everywhere. Everyone is trying to help out any leads they find.
Oxygen, beds, and vaccine, right? We are not getting it. We don't have enough of it. What is oxygen? Air.
It's one of the basic things that humans require to survive.
It's the basic things that you need to survive. It's there in the air. You just need to grab it, put it in a cylinder. It doesn't cost much. 3 to 4 crore it takes to set up an oxygen production plant. Okay? What are these things? Beds, oxygen. Who is supposed to supply them? Who do we think should be giving it to us?
The government, as of like in this situation, the state government or the central government. In this pandemic situation.
In this pandemic situation, the government should be giving it, right? Why the government should be giving it?
Because they have the authority to distribute it, to provide it in a very, centralized manner, in a very chopped out plan.
Okay. They also have better access to people who might need it.
Okay. Hospital beds. Why should the government be giving it?
So because they are the authority, they are in charge of keeping us safe. So if we need something, they should be able to provide us to save our life.
If we need something, okay, let me now you're coming close to where I am trying to take you. If we need something like this, they should be able to provide us. You are talking about a right. And a right to what?
Life. Right to life. Right to live.
Resources.
Good.
Public resources.
Healthcare, you are saying, in the situation of pandemic, healthcare is a public good. You are trying to see healthcare as a public good because there is a pandemic. And therefore you are saying, I have a right to this public good and the government must provide. And if the government fails to provide that right to good, that public good, then the government has violated your right. But in other situations, health is not a public good. If in other times you think healthcare is not a public good, suddenly a pandemic comes and you say, oh, now turn healthcare into a public good. Is it possible? Can you say, don't build government schools? When there is a crisis, we will say education is a public good. Where will public schools come up overnight? Where will public healthcare systems come up overnight? If in normal times, you did not ask the question that it is a public good to which citizens have a right, and therefore we must think what is happening to that public good. Today, if we are unable to give this very basic thing called oxygen, and people are dropping dead as they walk, they're dying not because of corona. They're dying as they gasp to breathe. It's because for years we got swayed not to ask what is happening to this public good called healthcare. Because we had enough money in our pocket, and on the other hand, we had places that we could access, even though a majority of population was not able to access. It took a pandemic to tell us this. Are we still learning? Now, why did I start off with this? It is very important when I speak to you today about the future. Now, let me just go back, okay, to the place I talked about where I grew up, in the southernmost corner of Odisha, which was a very remote place. We grew up, we were born, for people who were born in the 1960s and 70s, the future meant progress. The future meant development, enhancing the quality of life, right? India was all about nation building. You know, we were building infrastructure, we were building IITs, we were building AIMS, we were building self-sufficiency in food grain production, we were building ports, we were building ISRO to put satellites in the orbit. During this period, 60s and 70s, as we were growing up, this notion of progress and development was something that was seen as, or rather was driven by the state, by the government, by the public sector. Okay. The aspirations were also tied that if you studied, you got a job in Indian Oil Corporation or railways or in the civil services. That was your aspirations, right? Because that's where you looked, because that was the agency of development, that was the agency of progress, and you wanted to be part of that. By the 1990s, for many of you who might have been born in that decade, or probably some of you might be even after that decade, we entered, there is something called a new arrangement arrived on the scene, which is called an understanding that markets are more efficient. Markets clear various transactions more objectively, more fairly, and markets make an economy move faster. And the whole idea of progress and development then came to be seen through market, because markets offer choices, whereas before that, the system we had where the developmental state was central to our idea about progress and development, we had the notion of rights, that the state must develop these things because people have a right to this. Okay? Now, from there, we moved to a system where it became, we kind of moved through a transformation from a rights-based society to a choice-based society. Okay? So now, that's how we grew through the 90s and the first decade of the millennium. Now let me ask you, do you all have choices today to exercise?
Yes, sir.
You do?
It's a very tricky question. I mean, in a way, we do have choices, but we do not as well. Sometimes you're bound to go in a certain direction, and I mean, especially even like choosing streams also. You choose to choose your stream, but then the parents will tell us all the negative points about commerce and arts, and you're then bound to choose science. That way, we do have a choice, but do not have a choice.
Sometimes our choices are bound by the societal pressures as well.
Okay, I was not talking about choices in that context. I was talking about choices in the context of the transformation that we saw in the 1990s and 2000. People who were born or attained adulthood during this period, they looked at state government with a sense of disgust. They looked at, they were a firm believer that they should get out of everything. Everything should be left to market, because market allows us choices to exercise in ways that we want to. The only problem is, it doesn't allow you to make choices the way you would like to. But it changes the discourse, and it kinds of blinds you against a lot of things. Let me kind of ask you, so when you don't have marked choices, okay, I have choices to buy now from 20 models of the cars, okay? 20 years ago, probably I had 2 choices, okay? But can I exercise that choice? I need money to exercise that choice, right? So the choice is, you need money to exercise your choices. Now, when somebody doesn't have money, what do we say? We say, oh, he doesn't work hard enough. He's not innovative enough. In the worst case, we'll say, he's not fortunate enough. But in most cases, we'll say, he's not qualified enough. He is not skilled enough. He is not innovative enough. He doesn't work hard enough, therefore he doesn't have money, and therefore he cannot exercise the choice. Do we ever say, look, somebody has a right to certain basic things? No, we have forgotten about it. How can you say that if an underprivileged segment cannot put a child into a school that you can put, how can you say because that person, his or her parent did not work hard enough, or were not innovative enough, or were not rich enough, therefore the child, if he or she doesn't have that choice, it is fine? It is not fine. Because a child has a right. Okay, you can have the best of schools where those who can afford, I know many of you are from good schools, including Suvankar, who studied with my nephew. Okay, so Devika, time limit?
So sorry to cut in between. Actually, there's some echo on your side. If you could correct it somehow.
Is it still echoing?
Yeah, a bit of echo is there.
Is it echoing now?
I'll let you know. Maybe the place where you're sitting.
It's actually where I do it from usually.
If you have it,
I would get a lot of disturbances. I open the window. Am I? If I speak like this, is it okay? Is it getting better?
Yeah, I guess it's better. I'll let you know in a while if there is any echo. You can continue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Tell me, if it's getting too mundane. Okay. Stop me and say that I'm not making sense. Okay. Now,
having too much fun with you, and interacting is such the best part of the whole.
No. Okay. But these are basic questions. Okay. So what has basically happened is that in the first 30, 40 years, the way we pursued the idea of progress and development was tied to a justice-based approach, a rights-based approach. In the last 20, 30 years, what we have pursued is to have completely abandoned that justice-based approach and move over to something called a choice-based approach. Atmanirbhar Bharat. I have to be Atmanirbhar to get oxygen cylinder, to get hospital beds. So what basically has happened, you have left things to family. Family have to fend for things that obviously are not within their reach today. So only the privileged few would have access to what is there with the government. And those who have that access, they say, you go and fend for yourself. This is not the notion of self-reliance that Mahatma Gandhi had envisioned. Okay? So somewhere along the line, we need to strike a balance between a choice-based approach and a justice-based approach. I am not saying everything was fine with the other one also. Okay? Now, that is the context I wanted to set for today. Before that, let me just try to say a few things that it would like to lead you to. Why am I talking about all of these things when I say youth of India? Now, when I say rights, why am I emphasizing so much about rights? Now, there is a difference. Let me ask you, what is a nation? Because you have India in your name, right? So you're trying to identify as the youth of a nation, okay? So let me ask you, what is a nation? Define nation for me. Anybody?
People belonging to the same community who define with the notion of oneness, togetherness, and grow in a similar background.
I would like to add to her, along with having that one notion of oneness, they do have contrasting opinions within themselves, but still are bound to that one feeling of that superior nation which is there, which brings them together.
Very good, very good. We are getting...
Sir, also a nation with its own government occupying a territory, common territory is known as considered as a nation, like internationally. You cannot just...
Just Google that out?
No, sir, no. Actually,
Yes,
sir,
I'm joking. Okay, very good. Okay, let me take up from what Akshita said. Same community. So what is that same?
Same as in it can be...
Despite of differences, they come together.
Same community. You said same community. That means there is one definition for that community. There's a name for that community. There's an identity for that community.
The same community can be anything but language or race. Like language or a race can consider to be a same community that consists of similar people.
Okay.
And same could define a group of people, their ancestors are all living at one place.
Community is group of people. I wanted to understand what did she got almost there. Okay, let me help. Let me fill that in. Let me tell you how I see a nation. You got it all right, okay, in bits and pieces. So let me try and stitch it together. And in your language, a nation is a political community. That same is a political community. Like Siddharth said, that despite differences, you are bound by a certain set of rules, how does that happen with political community? To me, I define a nation as a political community. Now let's ask, political community means it's a community based on politics. Okay, now let's define politics. What is politics?
Just few people trying to get into power. If we consider Indian politics. So Indian politics consists of few group of people trying to get in charge.
So politics defines the workings of any community, how a particular community works towards betterment, facing all of its obstacles, and how it manages to handle all of it.
You all are giving me clues on which I can base the answers, okay?
Politics, we can say that, where one person is, or when a group of people are trying to come above the other in order to show that yes, they can like rule and make this place a better place.
Okay, let me stick to what Megha said. Okay, it's about finding out how to get better. Okay, and Siddharth said it's about a few people trying to advance their interest. Okay, no to Siddharth. Thumbs up to Megha. Let's put it this way. How about defining politics, as Aristotle said, a debate about morality. Society is based on moral values. Politics is about that debate over morality. It is not about money and interest of certain people or groups, as most would like to see it. Okay? Now, how do we carry out this debate over morality? Where does this debate manifest? Who sets the debate? Okay, in the interest of time, let me rush through this. It's the constitution of a country that defines the moral purposes. If you believe in a nation, you therefore must believe in a constitution. It's the constitution that will define the moral purposes. The constitution of a modern democracy would say humans will decide about their affairs. It's not God or any other institution having a divine mandate that must decide about human affairs. That is what used to happen before modern nation state came up, before modern state democracy came up. What used to happen? Kings used to rule. In colonial India, we didn't have rights. Why? We were ruled by the British. British were ruled by the Queen. And what do kings and queens have? They have a divine right to rule. You see? They have a divine right to rule. The rest are subjects. They are not citizens. In a democracy, we have citizens. Citizens have rights, duties, and obligation. Our obligation is we pay tax. Our duties is to follow law, and our rights are rights that are enshrined in our constitution, which have been defined in our constitution to enable us to pursue these moral purposes. That makes the politics of our nation. That makes our nation. So remember these things. We abandon any of these things, the fabric begins to crumble. And today, perhaps, we should be asking as youth these questions. So when I say, should the future makers worry about the present, what I am saying, should the youth be mindful, be alert, be sensitized, be conscious, and have a strong sense of commitment and obligation to ensure that if this is the framework that how we look at our nation and how our nation needs to be built, we have a responsibility to ensure none of these critical aspects fall off. So in everything that we do, in everything that we argue, we have to be conscious of this. And therefore, what we need to strike a balance between a justice-based approach and a choice-based framework. It is not this or that. And we have to understand what do these things mean. Okay, so when I came to Delhi 35 years ago, the DTC buses would take us everywhere. We had a 12 rupees 50 paisa bus pass that would, as students, would take us everywhere. For ordinary citizen, 100 rupee bus pass will take them everywhere. And you know, the DTC buses were notorious that by the time you put your first foot, the bus moves. Okay, because the roads were so empty, people reached, places so quickly. What happened thereafter? We destroyed the public transportation system. We replaced it with cars. We had Maruti cars by then. We had then in the 90s, many other companies came on board. Choices, people were spoiled for choices. People had the money. We went on buying cars. What did we do? We started ending up in traffic jams. What happened? We started building flyovers. We started widening roads. We widened roads, widened flyovers. Within 3 years, we are back to square one. Again built until it took us 20 years to start thinking that no, we cannot fight this without a public transportation system. We built the metro, and that is why we averted a crisis of a different kind that Delhi didn't turn into a Bangkok, okay, where people would wear diapers while hiring a cab because you never know where you would get caught in a traffic jam. That was the story in the 80s, right? And afterwards, Bangkok built its metro. In Delhi, we built the metro. It brought down the pressure. In the last 15 years, otherwise Delhi would have had it. But it still has left us with the crisis of air pollution. What a huge public cost we are paying. Okay, Delhi suffers shortage of water. We bring water from 500 kilometers are piped into Delhi. Delhi is a water guzzler. Every car requires on an average 2 buckets of water every day. Some people waste more than that. Delhi has got, the number of cars in Delhi are as much as Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai put together. So we have created a water crisis in Delhi. In summers, there are several parts of Delhi, people go without water and there is chaos. But because Delhi is capital, we are putting pressure on everybody else and getting water here. But somewhere else, people are losing out. Okay? So why has that happened? Because we failed to take cognizance of the balance that we needed to maintain. We got swayed away. We said, no, this is the way. Cars can be bought. EMIs are available easily. It is much more comfortable. But we forgot that one car carries one person, one bus carries 60 persons. Okay? We forgot the larger externalities. If there are some students from economics who would understand, we forgot the larger public interest that was being served by having a vibrant transportation system. So therefore, we need to think through all these things. And that was the idea of talking to you. And let's now go into whatever questions people might have. Any questions?
All right, I think that our interview session is over here, and we have the audience who would like to ask the question actually. So thank you so much, Vasudev, Siddharth, Akshita, Megha. It was so fun to have you guys with us. And I would like to call upon the audience who is here to ask us the questions. So yeah, they'll be joining in a second. Till then, you guys can leave. Thank you so much, Vasudev, Siddharth, Akshita, and Megha.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
That was so informative and worthwhile session.
Devika, if I'm okay if you want more time because I have overstepped my limit.
No, it's
I
absolutely.
wanted to explain something. So if you want to carry on for 5-10 minutes or more, we can carry on. I'm available.
Okay, so our guest lecturer people are here and they would like to ask you a question. You guys can switch on your camera. Vinita, you can go first. Vinita Kumari is from Army Law College, Pune, and you can ask your question, Vinita.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My question for you is, what kind of advice do you have for people who are going through a tough time nowadays?
Well, my first and foremost thing is there are tough times and there are good times. There are good times because tough times give way to good times. And tough times come because there will not always be good times. Okay? So my thing is, this will pass. But, you know, a very old senior uncle of mine used to tell me, when you are on a high, don't get too excited about it. Don't let it go out of your control. And when you are low, don't let it kill you. Strike a balance. We are today talking about everything about balance, right? These are difficult times. There is, how do you overcome this would require an entire lecture. It's just that have confidence in yourself. And as I said, it's not about whether I will be able to overcome the times that I face. There should be optimism. We shall overcome this. But when we do overcome this, how do we overcome this? How do we come out of this? We must aim to come out stronger. And the only way we can come out stronger is when we make note of the right lessons. And as we come out, we don't become complacent and address those issues. Put those lessons that we have learned into practice so that the next time a crisis of this nature comes, the blow is much less, or we are better prepared.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now we have Ashmita from Doom University who would like to ask a question. Go ahead, Ashmita.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Ashmita.
Sir, as a former editor, you would have received a lot of letters. Which was one of the most eye-catching letters you have received till date? Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, okay, let me tell you something. The culture of letters to the editors are gone. Okay, so now all kinds of because there used to be a time when every newspaper used to have a senior journalist who would be assigned to go through the people used to send letters, written letters, and while reading it. That culture is gone, okay, ever since we moved to an email-based system, okay. And typically today you would find some letters are sent, and if you ask me honestly, I never dealt with letters because it typically the opinion page deals with them and they publish some of them. And most letters to the editors today that are carried are actually about responses to somebody's article, okay? But I don't want to say about the letter that I received, the letter that stood out for me, but I can tell you that there was a great piece of journalism that one of our former editors once got Hindustan Times to do, which was based on a letter from a remote village somebody wrote, drawing his attention to failure of almost every developmental scheme in that village. So he started a series, that later triggered that series. And eventually, in the due course of time, that series went on for 6 years, sustained journalism, going and revisiting and all that. And it brought about a difference. Now, there have been things like this in the past. I can't pinpoint one letter, but there are several, on several occasions, people have brought to our notice things that have made us do something that kind of stays with me. One of the things that I would say I would pick on was about a person in Bihar's Bhabua district. A letter came once about him. He belonged to the Mahadalit caste. You know what is a Mahadalit caste? Musahar caste. Do you know what is a Musahar caste? the Musar, they're a Mahadalit caste who ate chuha, rats. So the rat is an eating caste, okay? They were meant to eat rats. They didn't eat out of choice, but they were meant to, okay? So that's the society we have inherited, unfortunately, right? So now this man was a bricklane worker and he had studied up to class 7. And he would listen to the over a transistor, over a radio, he would listen to things. And he figured out his students from his village are not going very far because there is nobody to offer them after school support. And he would come back from his work at 3 p.m. every day and start teaching those kids. And over a period of time, his intervention was responsible to produce the first 2 commerce graduates from that village. That later, I think, made me trigger to made me think about writing and getting such stories from around the country covered, and which later on translated into a 25-part venture about how ordinary men have done extraordinary things to change the world around them. So I think that is something that kind of sticks to me. It's not about any particular letter being written to you. It's about things that have been brought to our notice through a letter, and which has later on resulted in a much larger intervention.
Thank you so much, sir.
Let me tell you, some people in that 25-part series that we did are today big celebrities. You have heard about the movie called Padman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the sanitary pads, low-cost sanitary pad maker, the movie in which Akshay Kumar starred. Now that man was a find, our find in this series. We were the first ones to spot him. And then before he became internationally famous, it was we, because of this trigger for a series, we ended up, he was one. There were quite a few people in that series that we were able to spot across India who later on became celebs and became big change makers. So he was one of them. So that's why it was a letter that gives me a great sense of gratification that I managed to follow up on that and did something which really made a lot of, it made me feel good. Okay, let's go over to the next question.
Thank you, sir.
So next up we have Misty, who will be asking her question. Misty, you can switch on your camera and go ahead and ask your question. Misty, you there? I guess she's having some network issue. Till then, Ayush, you can go ahead and ask your question. Switch on your camera and ask your question.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sir, my question is, can you explain the best way to stay competitive in the market when there is so much going on? Like, how can I have an edge on other brands on the market?
Let me ask you, why do you want to have edge over your friends? Why do you stay competitive?
Sir, if I want to launch if I want to launch a product, I want that public should reach me with that brand. Sorry. The day you figure out why you want to stay competitive, you'll figure out how to stay competitive. That's my only answer. I don't want to be competitive. I want to be cooperative. I want to be collaborative. I don't want to compete. We spoke about 30 minutes. I don't know whether you heard us. What is coming out? My entire essence of my lecture, if I can sum up, it came up. What we need is cooperation in public good rather than competition in individual responsibilities. I'm not a person who would like to spoil my sleep thinking about competition. I would rather I would rather think about
cooperation and collaboration, because I think cooperation and collaboration yield much better result than competition. Try it for a change. If you cooperate and collaborate for your product will be much better and will have much more wider acceptance and will perform a much bigger social goal. After all, Youth India Foundation, you are calling it a social enterprise, right?
Yes, sir.
Think about it. Shall we compete or shall we collaborate and cooperate? Think about it.
Yes, we should cooperate.
You should not take things that are given to you. Ask questions. Every word, ask, what does it mean? And there is never one meaning. There are always many meanings. Explore all the meanings and then say, this is the meaning that makes sense to me. This is the meaning where I will find a purpose of my life, because at the end of the day, it is about finding a purpose of life. When you reach my age, okay, I'm not that old, I'm still young, okay? But when you get a little older than I am today, you will say, look back and say, God, 60 years have passed. What have I done in life? And you will ask that question without an answer if you did not pursue a purpose in life, if you did not define the purpose of your life. But if you define the purpose of your life and you pursued it with the right earnest, whether you succeed or fail, you will always succeed if you have a purpose in life. I'm very sure people, when they have a purpose in life, they succeed. And when you look back and ask that question, what did I do in the last 60 years? You'll have many answers. But if you didn't have a purpose in life, or if you had one and didn't have the courage to pursue it, then you will not find answers to that question.
It was very helpful, sir. Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, next up we have Misty. Misty, you can switch on your camera and go ahead and ask the question.
Good evening, sir. My question is, how do we become better writers, and what skills should we develop in order to improve our produce better articles and write-ups?
Okay, that's what I have done all my life, trying to figure it out and trying to help others figure out that. Okay, the question is good writing, right? What do you mean by good writing?
Like any write-ups that can be called like better.
When you read something, what is it that you say is good and is not good?
Something that everyone can relate to and can somewhere feel like, yes, this is something that is related to them in some way or the other.
Okay, so here is the thing. Do you read more or listen more?
I read more.
You read more?
Yeah.
You don't listen to a lot of podcasts? Do you consume a lot of YouTube? Watch?
No, sir. Actually, I'm more like a reading person.
When a teacher teaches you in a class and the same thing you read in the book, what is it that you are likely to comprehend faster?
Listening.
Listening, yes? Okay. So, good writing is all about coming as close as something being explained to you as if somebody is talking to you.
Yes,
So
sir.
what I say to journalists or anybody who is aspiring to be a journalist or a writer, I say, tell a story as you would tell a story. Okay? Write the way you talk. I told you before I came to Delhi to pursue my graduation, I did not know English, I did not know Hindi. Okay? I studied in the Odia medium. Okay? But I managed to survive in the profession because this is the principle I follow. So, write the way you talk. But you said listening you comprehend, but would you listen to somebody if that person is not listening?
I listen to them when we are talking or having a conversation.
So if somebody has clarity of thoughts, you like to listen to that person, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Like you are doing vis-a-vis me now. I'm just trying to, pat myself, huh? Okay. So good writing is about having clarity of thoughts. How would you get clarity of thoughts?
By going out and having the conversation with different people.
By getting all the relevant information first. Unless you are informed, you cannot have clarity of thoughts. Unless you have clarity of thoughts, you cannot write well. So let's move the other way. To be a good writer, it is essential you have to be informed first. The second aspect is whatever information that you have, you should be able to organize and structure it well. And then present it as if you are trying to make a case to somebody as you talk. So tell a story as you tell a story. Okay? Did that answer your question?
Yes, so thank you, sir.
Being informed means doing a lot of homework. You just can't go about writing that will have impact unless you do a lot of homework to be informed about whatever you want to write.
Yes, sir.
That is what sets aside a good journalist from a bad journalist.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, this was a wonderful session, and now we will be heading to the next segment of our session. I'm sure the audience must have a lot of questions for the guest speaker. Therefore, we will now be taking up from the questions right from the YouTube live chat. So our first question is by Nitika Bhavani, who asks, we all go through times struggling to bring about a balance in our work life. So can you tell us about one such time in your life, and what did you do to come up with a solution then?
Sorry, I didn't get.
I will repeat. We all go through times struggling to bring about a balance in our work life. So can you tell us about one such time in your life, and what did you do to come up with a solution then?
I'm very bad with time management. I'm very bad in balancing my work life with my personal life. But what I can tell you is that I have tried to get better with it. And the best way is not to carry work home and not to carry home to work. But unfortunately today, it is work from home. So how do you deal with it? So on work, I advise, and this is what I was advised by, and I must confess that I have not been able to do, look at it, how I have managed the time. I gave certain time slots and I overspent my time. I get swayed when I get interesting people to talk to, right? Like all of you. So sometimes I also debate, is it so necessary to be figuring out that you have to be always pakka about time management? Because being pakka about time management also brings about a lot of stress. So I have figured, and the reason why after quitting my job I decided not to do any more job, because my job at Hindustan Times was hell. I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, nudging my digital desk, and I would go to bed at 11:30 after clearing the page one headlines. My life was ruined. So when I quit, I said, no, I want to be owner of my time. So today, I am much more at peace. So the day I decide I don't want to do something, I decide I won't do it. I will watch Netflix. Okay, what's the latest? Okay. So 2 weeks ago, I spent considerable time watching The Serpent. Have you guys watched it? The Serpent, Charles Sobras? No, watch it. Okay, that was
I'm going to add it to my reading list.
Okay, so I do it and I'm more at peace. I don't know. I really don't have an answer, but I don't think that we need to worry too much about balance. The moment we start worrying about balancing work and life, I think we should just enjoy our time. I think that's the best way to manage time.
I totally agree with you, sir. So moving on to our next question, which is by Shraddha Menon. She asks, in your opinion, what are the qualities of a good journalist that one should possess?
Ask questions. Always ask questions. What is journalism? I mean, to me, my definition of journalism is how do we chronicle the world around us without bias and prejudice? And a good journalist, in my view, is the one who sticks to every word of this definition. And if I'm able to do that, I'm a good journalist. And in order to do that, I have to constantly explore information around me. I have to ask questions, and I have to have the courage to present to my audience the world as it is, without any bias and prejudice, which is unfortunately not happening today. I'm sorry to say that.
That's true, sir. So, well, we'll move on to our next question, our last question, which is by Disha Zara. She asks, newspapers devote many pages to politics. Do you think that it is extremely necessary? If so, then why?
I think that's not factually correct. I can tell you that. Okay, do we have some time? I can explain this.
Yes, sir. You can explain now. We have.
So, as you know, I worked with this newspaper called Hindustan Times, right? It's one of the leading newspapers. Now, we if there was one segment we started, Times of India and Hindustan Times started in giving a lot more attention to in the last 20 years, was what is called the entertainment section. Okay, if you see Delhi Times and if you see HT City, they are very bulky sections. Sometimes they run into 40 pages. Of course, it is all filled with advertisements. Okay, but the person who asked this question is not borne out by facts. I think there should be more written about politics and national affairs, but not in a manner that is done today or for the past, most Indian newspapers do it that way. By reporting on what political party leaders or government leaders have to say every day in, day out, that's not how politics is to be reported. Because we talked about politics, right? We talked about how politics is about a debate about moral purposes. We talked about how nation is nothing but a political community. So my idea of political and national affairs coverage is you go out to the field, get people's voices about everything in politics that affects you. Because you see, you cannot ignore politics and politicians because what they do affects you in every way. So how do we report in a different way that engages our audience much more, that actually helps a newspaper become a more effective platform to raise the voice of people, okay, the marginalized, the ones who do not have power. So I think those coverages have to go up. Now you can call it in a different language also, developmental coverage or whatever you call it, but I call it politics because it is all about politics, okay? If people are not getting water in a village and some people have excess of water, it is all about politics, okay? So, where Ganga begins or Jamuna begins, there is water shortage there, but Delhi sucks out water from there, so there is politics, right? So I call it politics. I think there should be more coverage, but people in newspapers and other channels, over the time, we have reduced our attention to political coverage. We have increased sports, entertainment, which is also important because those things also they bring about a completeness in a person's life in terms of daily engagement with information. But people have tended to give more space to sports and entertainment because there you make money. There are more advertisers who are willing to put money there, okay, and business and finance, okay. Actually, people don't put politics and national affairs. But however, let me tell you this story, which I, over the 10 years from Hindustan Times, I picked up. So we would have something called a quarterly readers survey as to what readers want. And when the times are good, we would always see people would say, we want more entertainment, we want more sports, we want more personal finance stories in the paper. And when the times are bad, we would see people saying, we want more reporters on what's happening to the country and why. So this is what consistently I have seen from 2008 when I joined Hindustan Times, when there was a global financial crisis. At that point in time, people wanted more on politics and national affairs. Okay. Then again, entertainment, sports. Then came 2012, policy paralysis and all. People wanted again more national. Then again, the demand, Modi ji came, everybody became happy that, we are going to go to Moon and Mars very soon. So they wanted more of sports, entertainment, business and finance. Then by 2017, 1 year after demonetization and GST, by 2018, people started again demanding more on national. So we are also quite selfish. When things go wrong, we start worrying about things. So it is not true that newspapers are giving more space to politics and national affairs. They should give more, but they should do it in a lot more different way. I think there is opportunity to make it more informative, make it more engaging for the audience, and make it more purposeful. Some newspapers do that. For example, among all the newspapers, I like the way Indian Express actually takes up some of these stories, reporters-driven stories. And that's also good journalism because people go out to the field. But the bigger newspapers somehow don't do so much of this. You find this good coverage in smaller newspapers. Why and how, that we'll have to keep it for another day.
Well, I am just shook with all the knowledge and everything, each and every experience that you shared. I'm just shook. Like, I can't describe you. I'm so thankful to you for all the words that you said. But now we'll be moving on to a prize distribution.
Don't lie, Devika. I think I bored you guys a lot also.
Oh, please no. Our founder would let you know. And the audience out there is just...
One correction. I never went to Johns Hopkins.
Oh, okay.
I went to an university called Jawaharlal Nehru University, which many people would like to think that is a university that breeds anti-nationals. And if it breeds anti-nationals, I am one of those anti-national also. But Jawaharlal Nehru University allowed us to pay 15 rupees per semester, per month fee, and pay 100 rupees for a hostel, and come from very humble background, from the most disadvantaged sections of the society, and yet go up in life. Okay, today the government is full of people who have studied from that university. 2 of your cabinet ministers are from that university. Half of your departments are headed by IAS officers who are from that university. Okay, and it's a public good. It's a public good. It's a state university which we are trying to ruin now. Okay.
I don't think anyone knew it, so thank you so much for telling me.
If people don't know about Jawaharlal Nehru University, then that's it.
They don't know about that and then so like that is
okay.
Very
So I thought probably
yes.
Hopkins is something which is more familiar with this generation than Jawaharlal Nehru University. But I think we need to build familiarity with our own institutions, good institutions that we once built and are trying to destroy now.
That is what we are here for, to bring about a change. Well, moving on to our prize distribution, I would like to call our founder for that. Let me introduce him a bit till he joins. He's a true leader and who gives the team all that he has to offer without caring about the consequences. He leads by example. Our founder, Shubhankar Nanda, began his journey with a genuine intention of making this world a better place. He has proven to be an inspiration and a motivator over the period of time. Shubhankar Nanda has transformed lives in ways he might not be aware of. Youth India Foundation was formed with a tiny crew of 4 people, but today this is a strong family of 7,000 members and growing faster than ever. We as a team are proud to be associated with Youth India Foundation and Mr. Shubhankar Nanda. We are elated to grow as learners under his valuable guidance. It is a matter of honor to introduce our founder, our organization's heart and soul, Mr. Shubhankar Nanda. He has invested the best of his efforts into the growth of Youth India Foundation.
Thank you, Devika. And I would like to say thanks a lot to our viewers who are watching very nicely and they're enjoying Sir's lecture as well. Good evening, Uncle. I hope you like the crowd and the ambience.
You don't have to call me Uncle. Call me Rajesh. Okay.
Okay.
Well, our management who above all practice the art and science of molding and polishing Youth India Foundation, without whom our youth success would have been impossible. So now we have a few prizes for them. We'll be moving on to our prize distribution ceremony for PR department and marketing department. First of all, we'll have for the PR department and nominees for the best PR subdivisional head for national are Ashmita, engagement head; Mitali, grievance head; Chandraveer, grievance head. So can we have them all on stage? Ashmita, Mitali, and Chandraveer. Well, you had to announce the winners.
Where is this Doon University, Ashmita?
Sir, Dehradun.
Okay.
All right, so I would like to...
Has been renamed as Doon University?
No, sir, Doon University is a state university.
State government university, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, sir, I would like you to announce the winner for Best PR Subdivisional Head, National.
So, congratulations to Ashmita, Mitali, and who else should I add?
Chandraveer is having neck issues, so maybe he won't be able to join.
Okay. Great. Congratulations.
Well, Ashmita is the winner, engagement head. Congratulations, Ashmita. You guys can...
Thank you so much.
I thought all of them made it, so they all need to be congratulated.
Absolutely.
And Ashmita being the winner, that's why we got to engage a little more, right? But I think all of them deserve to be congratulated, and yes, a special one for Ashmita.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to our next category, which is Best PR Member for State and Societies. I would like to call the nominees on stage, which is Vedika, Surbhi, and Harvish. Can we please have them? All right. So they are here. So you can announce the winner.
So Vedika and
Harvish.
Harvish is the winner, right? And who else was the third person? Do we have a third person?
Surbhi from Maharashtra.
Surbhi, okay. Congratulations to all of you to have made it, and a special one for Harvish to make it to the lead slot. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can we tell you a little bit about what is this state and societies? Do you do a lot of volunteerism? Is that why you are here?
Actually, we have the whole organization at various levels, which is national, state, societies. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's wonderful to see how in such a short time you have been able to bring together people from... Sorry about that. You have been able to bring together people from across the country, and I see a lot of diversity, which is very good. I would urge Subhankar to think about taking this to the next level, particularly in terms of diversity, social diversity, and also interest diversity.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think
Sure.
yeah, I feel very encouraged talking to all of you. In this time, when I talk to all of you, I see, I look at your faces, I see hope, I see optimism, and it makes me feel good.
Well, that's great. So now we'll move on to our next category, which is for the Best PR Head of States. So, and our nominees are Dhruv, which is from Maharashtra PR Head, and Musharat Fatema, that is Karnataka State PR Head, and Muskan Hari, Delhi State PR Head. Can you please have him on stage? They all have done exceptionally well and successfully handled all their states.
Wow.
But I guess we are here.
That Dhruv has led the effort, right?
Yeah, he's successful in handling the Maharashtra team of PR.
Okay, excellent. Congratulations to all of you. And I hope that this is our first interaction, but it will not be last interaction. And when we interact in future, I would like to learn more about the work you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Muskan and Fatima. We move on to the next category, which is for the best PR society head. And the nominees are Egmore PR head, which is Divya, Juhu PR head, Shrishti, and Kanhe PR head, Ananya. So we'll be having them soon. Can we please have them on stage? Before they join, I would like to tell that Kani PR head won't be able to on Ananya on her behalf. Vartika, the president of Kani Society, will be taking the award, and due to some connectivity issue, she won't be able to join. Let's have the other nominees on stage. I guess there is some network issues, so they will be joining soon. Well, so you can go ahead and announce the winners, I guess.
Okay, congratulations. This, it could be conveyed to Ananya, right? No,
yes.
Whoever is on her behalf.
Well, we now move on to the marketing nominee, and our first category is for best platform. That is LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So you can go ahead and announce the winner for the best platform.
What is the
platforms are, as I said, it's a social entrepreneurship platform. So we have these top 3 platforms which have whose content is going up, and they have been performing really, really well.
Okay.
There's a whole team and members and heads that are performing spot on, and followers have been increasing totally, and content is going up. So I would like.
Good. And these are the people who are responsible for that? Samriddhi?
Yeah, actually, they won't be able to join, so you can just announce the platform.
No, which platform has won?
It's the LinkedIn platform.
The LinkedIn platform has won.
Yes, the LinkedIn team.
Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, Twitter. There are 3 nominees: Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And LinkedIn won the best.
That's very heartening. So I'm happy that I'm happy for all of them. But one would have thought that Instagram would have walked away with it. But good, LinkedIn platform. Congratulations. And so there goes. LinkedIn is the winner.
Yes. Well, we're moving on to our best platform head. For that, we have Shivam, Samriddhi, and Kanak Sengar. So, yeah, they are here, and you can announce the winner. So.
Congratulations to all of you, and keep up the good work. That is all I can say. Keep strengthening Youth India Foundation.
Well, congratulations to all of you. And Kanak has been the best platform head. She was spontaneous throughout and is good with taking the necessary actions at the right time. Got great communication skills and delegates work.
Where are you best, Samriddhi?
Sorry?
Where is Samriddhi best?
Samriddhi, Kanak, and Shivam. There are 3 best platform heads that are here, that are nominated.
And all of you are based in different parts of the country?
Yeah, they have been handling the particular platforms. Like for LinkedIn, we had Kanak. For YouTube, we had Samriddhi. So like this.
Okay. I'll probably, okay. I don't want to hold you back. It's a bit of an information overload that I will deal with at some point in time. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll be moving on to our next category, which is for the best marketing state. And the nominees are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Delhi. The best marketing state is Tamil Nadu. It has been spontaneous with price, takes proper action based on the need of the platform, and is good with basic marketing. Thank you so much. And
I think Suvankar is rigging the results because he's from Chennai. The Tamil Nadu team has probably gotten the award. But anyway, but I would also like to congratulate Delhi and Maharashtra for being in the race.
Well, congratulations.
Actually, but although the organization started from Delhi, I'm also from Delhi also.
You are also okay. So your loyalty is free. Okay, but congratulations, Tamil.
Okay, so congratulations to all the winners. I hope you keep shining with your talents and skills. We'll be now moving to the inauguration. And the inauguration, the founder here would let you know more about it. But the world of work is changing rapidly, and leaders need to adapt their own skills and mindsets to address future trends and challenges. I would now like to announce the launch of Youth India Network Media House, and a founder here would let you know more about it. I would
Yes, sure. So, as we had talked about the inauguration, particularly of Youth India Network, which is particularly the media house that we are starting under Youth India. Youth India basically is a social entrepreneurship platform where we are focusing on ensuring as many such people who have different kinds of ideas can get a boost or an acceleration of sorts from a particular platform and start their initiatives. And Youth India Media House is one of them, which has been ideated by me, and it has been joined in with me by Anis, who's the co-founder. He's not here with me right now, but particularly Youth India Network is something that we thought of as a platform which is going to address all the issues which are not getting addressed on the national media. And we thought of a very innovative way of doing the same, wherein it's a totally dedicated platform on which you as a person can also log in. You can become a creator over there. You can put in the news. Our team will verify it and it will be posted. So it's a platform which creates news by itself, through the people, by the people, and it's for the people. So that's a platform that has been created. Our verification algorithm will continuously verify if the news is totally true or not. There shall be no bias, and this particular platform is being carried over by the Bengal team of Youth India, and we thought that it is better if the Bengal team does it, because we go back to the Bengal gadget which was launched, and keeping that in mind, we thought that it should be taken over by the Bengal team. So yes, so sir, I would like you to inaugurate the Youth India Network.
Yeah, this is something very interesting. It sounds very interesting. In fact, I can offer you any assistance I can be of with a future date. You may want to look at some of the initiatives in this regard that have been done. For instance, I can recall Youth Ki Awaaz is one. There are quite a few done, and see, what is it that how you can differentiate it from them and how you can make it a better proposition. And of course, just because some platforms are there, there is no reason that one more cannot be built, because we need a lot more of this. We need a lot more diversity, and I think it's an excellent idea. And I wish you all success.
Thank you, totally.
And support whenever you need.
Sure.
Thank you so much, sir.
That's all you need.
No, we're surely going to need it.
Okay, I have said that I will charge you a fee. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I would like our founder to tell you more about the COVID relief drive and make the announcement for that.
Yes. So this is something that has sparked in the last 1 to 2 weeks. Knowing all of you that Youth India is a platform which is having more than 7,500 people, and within the last 2 weeks, a lot of issues have been brought up to me where our members, our interns, our different core department heads have suffered through COVID, or someone in the family has suffered through COVID, and many have lost lives. Keeping these in mind, we have decided that the huge amount of resources at our level that we have, that is the mass of this much people, and the knowledge that can be transpired, or the communication that can be transpired, we had decided that we are going to start Youth India COVID Relief Drive from tomorrow onwards, effectively from 7 o'clock. Every day you'll find us live on YouTube and all our Instagram platforms. The drive is very simple. We are divided into various steps. the various steps that include into this particularly are step one being awareness. On our YouTube page every day, all of you, we are going to focus on the crowd which is having the symptoms but are at their homes and getting treated. And we are going to ensure that they stay at their homes and get well. That is the first thing that we are going to focus on. So there's no situation where you have to go to the hospital. We might not be able to finish the whole number, but we might be able to slow it down, because that is the main issue that we have during this particular stage, in which there are a lack of beds. So we have to ensure that you get well in your homes. Staying at home is a basic thing which I don't have to say. The step two is we have prepared a national database across 10 states and 20 cities, wherein there's a data of all the empty beds, and it is getting updated in the morning and in the night. You can check it out. It is going to be publicly available on our dedicated COVID page on youthindiafoundation.com from tomorrow 7 p.m. onwards. Then coming to step three, we have a particular list of all these cities and states where we have the remdesivir and its substitutes and oxygen cylinders distributors, all verified by our team in the last 4 days. And finally, we have designated 5 plasma donors of different blood groups across all these cities, and they will be rejuvenated every 15 to 30 days. And along with that, if it is used, we'll keep rejuvenating one and one. And at the end of it, once this is done for a week, we are planning to work towards the vaccination drive. So this is the COVID relief drive that is happening from tomorrow onwards. I would want all of you to share it with as many people as possible and join it for sure. We are going to have doctors only giving you live treatment for free. So yes.
This is excellent. I am so touched, and it is very encouraging to hear that you are doing this. But what is more important is I can sense how you are thinking through each of these interventions. Okay, and that gives me the confidence that this beyond COVID and beyond COVID relief also, you should carry on this kind of larger societal intervention, because I think you are having the expertise and the ability to give it a good structure and good direction, and that is what is going to make a difference as far as the effectiveness of these interventions are concerned. And we need many such interventions, and I'm so happy to hear that young people are thinking and doing these things. I'm very happy. I'm very touched.
Thank you.
My best wishes, and I want you to succeed.
We'll give it our best for sure.
Thank you so much, Kamal. And now that we are coming to the end of the live, I would like to invite our co-founder, Pushne Mahapatra. Till he joins, I would like to introduce him. That he once said, money, fame, popularity are all temporary, but our skills and knowledge are permanent. And it's so true. Through the quality of his acts and the sincerity of his purpose, a true leader is one who has the courage to stand alone, make difficult choices, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. Pushne is a very talented individual who has organized numerous events and collaborated with various departments, including IT, marketing, logistics, finance, and management. However, apart from that, he's an artist who enjoys playing guitar and participating in a variety of sports. So I would like to welcome him and give the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. As all good things come to an end in life, so today's lecture series, Nirvana. On behalf of Youth India Foundation, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly or indirectly contributed to today's foundational lecture. At the outset, I would like to thank our Honorable Chief Lecturer, Sri Rajesh Mahapatra. We are enlightened with your words and presence. I would like to thank Devika for hosting today's lecture series, and I would also like to thank Vasudev, Megha, Akshita, Siddharth for making this an interactive session. A special thanks to our founder, Chairman Shubhankar Nanda and Youth India team for working so hard to make this foundational lecture series a success. And lastly, on behalf of the whole Youth India family, I would like to thank all our viewers for joining us today. With this warm word, I would like to take my leave. Thank you, everyone. Stay home, stay safe.
Best of luck. Thank you everybody. Thank you, Pushne. Thank you, Shubhankar. Thank you, Devika. It was a pleasure to be with you.
It was a pleasure for us too.
Well, that's so beautifully said. And now I would like to conclude the event. So, the future influences the present just as much as the past. This event turned into a smoothly running meeting with our honorable guest speaker, Mr. Rajesh Mahapatra. He has enlightened us all with his knowledge and motivated young, aspiring youth to have a vision and take action. He answered all the questions with great expertise. It feels great to witness the transformation of this budding organization. It started with a bunch of people, but now it's a family of thousands of members. Conducting such a great event is a challenging task, but we work together with utmost dedication and commitment. Such qualities are instilled by every member of this organization. Their constant efforts and perseverance has shaped this budding organization of what it is today. Youth empowerment is our goal, and it's a process where young people like you and me are encouraged to take charge of our lives to make it better. A small reminder for all of you again, please do not forget to fill in the form on our website. Make sure you upload your screenshots in time so that all of you get your certificates soon. It was truly an honor to have you always with us. And sir, if you have anything else to say, you can go ahead. Otherwise, we would like to end the live.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. Then this event has come to an end, and I bid you all a good boy. And don't forget that there's more to come, but stay home, stay safe, and stay connected with us. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.